for so many entrepreneurs, and I've been studying, we have data now on over 700 entrepreneurs. The average length in business of those we've surveyed is 12 years. And the most frequently reported number of days they've been able to be away from their business fully unplugged is 0. So it is huge to be able to say, you're going to unplug this weekend. You're going to take 2 days off and not think about work.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Matter of Speaking, a podcast for leading voices in the industries of health, wealth, relationships. We interview our clients here at LEADR and really get to understand the journey of them getting their message and their mastery out there in hopes of reaching you to either teach you something cool from this person or number 2, help you take the next steps to get your message or mastery out to the world. Because we all have them. We all want to get them out. And some of us are just in that in-between phase. We can learn from these people in their journeys to help ourselves get our message and our masteries out to the world. Today, we're talking in the realm of wealth. It's been a minute. And we're talking with Dr. Sabrina Starling. She is a Ph.D., PCC, BCC, the Business Psychologist, and an international best-selling author of the How to Hire the Best series and the 4-week vacation. Yes, you heard that right. At the end of a year of working with her, a 4-week-long vacation. Hello. She's a third generation in her family impacted by entrepreneurial hustle culture, which is what we talk about today, and is transforming the story of success from long hours and grinding it out to work that supports and enhances your life. And she tells her story of how she was stuck in it, how she got out, and how you can do the same. She was featured in Forbes. Ever heard of it? Entrepreneur.com and Thrive Global. She's the founder of Tap the Potential at www.tapthepotential.com. It's in the description below. And the globally top-ranked Profit by Design podcast. She was listed in the Daily Hustle's top 50 entrepreneurs to watch in 2022, which I find ironic. And she is on a mission to get 10,000 business leaders to take the Work Supports Life pledge. And you're going to hear about what that means today in our talk. We talk about how she found out that she was in hustle culture, how she got out, what the $10,000 an hour activity is, and how you can find it for yourself, the steps you can start to take to figure out what does growth and opportunity mean to you specifically. So you're going to love the podcast. And as always, you should know that this podcast is sponsored by LEADR, our company that has perfected the art of helping you get your authentic message or mastery out to the world through speaking and business building. We have helped over 650 people land TEDx talks and hundreds more speak on virtual and physical stages around the world. Me being one of them, a TEDx talk and speaking. I choose to speak with schools. We also help people authentically and sustainably start and scale their business so they can find success long term and really find the values that they hold and the balance of work and life that Dr. Sabrina talks about in today's podcast. So if you would like to learn more about LEADR, there is also a link in the description below just to get started. Free webinar you can watch with our pretty awesome president, Taylor Conroy. That being said, let's pass it over to me and Dr. Sabrina. And welcome back. Episode 49 of the podcast, A Matter of Speaking. We are talking in the arena of wealth today, which I'm excited because it's been a minute. And we're talking with Dr. Sabrina Starling. Dr. Sabrina, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm excited.
I'm excited. We've already saw it in the intro. You have a list of accolades, an incredible TEDx talk that we're going to talk about. But I'm excited because we're talking wealth. And we're also talking hustle culture. And I think a lot of people, when they're on here, they're like, no, it has to do more with health. And let's be honest, it probably does. And it probably helps relationships too. But most people out there are thinking wealth first. So it's like you tackle it head on.
Absolutely.
Now, you're a leading voice is what I like to call it, right? It's the first question I ask everybody. You are tackling hustle culture head on. You believe in a 25-hour work week, which we're going to talk about today, the $10,000 an hour pay. What does it mean for you to be a leading voice in the industry of anti-hustle culture?
I really like to look for what are we taking for granted in life and work. And if it's something we're taking for granted, like it's just the way it is, and it's not working for us, I think we need to question it. And that to me is what it is to be a leading voice. I found something that wasn't working for me, and I realized it doesn't work for a lot of people. And
Mhm.
so I started questioning it. And my powerful question was, what do I want? And I really got clear that I wanted to work no more than 25 hours a week so that I could be present for myself, my family, and my clients. I want to bring the best of me
Mhm.
to this world.
Mhm.
And hustle culture doesn't permit that.
Yeah. So it's basically you're able to look at it from a high level and this isn't something's not working here. So I need to figure out what it is that I want.
Yeah.
And then speak to it. Now, do you feel like you said it's not working for a lot of people? Do you feel anti-hustle culture is for everybody, or do you think it's more of a subset of the population?
So let me just define what I mean when I say hustle culture.
Okay.
Hustle culture to me means that we feel this internal and external pressure to work harder, do more, be more. And we end up sacrificing our health and our well being and our important relationships because of that pressure to succeed. And so, in my mind, anti hustle culture is where our work supports our life, not the other way around.
Mhm.
And you kicked it right off with talking about wealth. My daughter's boyfriend, who is 17, made this observation yesterday. And he said, your mom has wealth because she has freedom.
Mm,
That's it. That's what we are all after.
I love that. So, really, a good correlation for people to start thinking of wealth is how much freedom do you have in your life?
Yes.
What, I mean, you've done a bunch of research, I'm sure. What do you think kicked off hustle culture, specifically here in the United States? Do you think it was our inception? Do you think it's been more recently? Like, where do you see it starting?
I can only go back as far as I have awareness. And for me, it started, I'm the third generation in my family impacted by hustle culture. So I can look back as far as my grandfather,
Hmm.
who was an oil man, an entrepreneur, and he just chased growth and opportunity. And I relate to that. I love growth and opportunity.
Hmm.
And we are surrounded with opportunities. I mean, they're in abundance, and that desire to take advantage of every opportunity. And I think it's this idea that we have to go after everything. And our society is on steroids with AI. There's so many opportunities everywhere. And for me, it's been a process of learning how to say no, using a set of standards, my immutable laws, my core values,
Hmm.
and being selective about what I say yes to. So I say no a lot more than I say yes. And when I was in graduate school, that's not what I learned. I learned say yes to every opportunity because you never know where it'll lead you. Well, it led me straight to burnout after
Hmm.
5 years after of getting a PhD. I was ready to, just hang up my PhD and go work at Starbucks because it was just so demanding, and I had put all that time and investment. So I really had to stop and think about, well, what do I want?
Hmm.
And how do I build a business? Because I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Hmm.
I wanted to have my own business, but I also wanted to be present for my family. And I did not want my business to destroy my family. I did not want the success of my business to take over my life. And that is what I saw happen in my family with my grandfather. He stumbled on this idea for a drive-in movie theater, and he actually, the way he did it is he had service stations and he wanted to sell more gas. And so he got this idea to put a big screen on the back roof of one of his service stations and give purchasers of 5 gallons of gas a free ticket to the show. Well, that idea clicked. Cars came in droves. There were so many cars in the lots, the attendants couldn't even get to the pumps. And that's back then they used to help you pump your gas
Yeah.
or do it for you. And so like they were just flooded with opportunity in business. And that's a wonderful thing. Like on the surface, we all think, well, that's the kind of success I want in my business, right?
Hmm.
But what happened is it was hard to find good help.
Hmm.
And everyone in the family went to work in the business, including my 11-year-old father. And he worked from sun up till sundown, and everybody in the family did. They never got a break. They never took vacations. He lived off of food from the concession stand. And so that's how he was raised. Well, when I come along, I'm like 6 or 7 years old, and I remember he would finish eating like really fast and rush out the door. And my mom would explain, Sabrina, your dad never got to sit down and eat a relaxed meal as a family. They always ate on the go. And that's,
Yeah.
he still is doing that now. And so all of that was getting passed down to me. And that was my worldview of like how to succeed is you just hustle sun up to sundown. And it was that point where I was about 5 years out of school, and I just thought, "This is killing me. I'm in my early 30s. I can't do this the rest of my life this way."
Can you actually talk to that? Because what I love about your message, you talk about this in your TEDx talk with that picture of your dad, where it's like he always kind of seemed like preoccupied. He was looking at
Yes.
something else. I want to loop back to the whole growth and opportunity, but you're someone that isn't just like you get some people that have this message. It's almost like they're holier than thou, like, oh, you should always have been looking at it this way. And it's hard to relate
Mm.
with those people because you're like, okay, you get it, but I can't. You were in this. You
I
were
was in
in
it.
could and you say it's 5 years coming out of school. What how did you know? Like, what is it that you actually started sensing? Was it, like, in your body? Was it in your head? Like, I'm trying to think of
It
someone that's
was
watching this right now being like, "Oh, that's me." And
Yeah.
sometimes you need to hear from someone.
Yeah, so it was when I would come home from work and I didn't wanna make dinner. I
Mhm,
just wanted to flop on the couch in front of the TV, and I could have laid there until I didn't need to eat. I was just exhausted.
mhm,
I had nothing, and what I could hear myself saying to my husband, "I have nothing left to give."
mm,
And I would spend the entire weekend trying to recover to go back in on Monday, and I would come in the office on Monday, I'm like, "Okay, I got this." I
mhm,
have and get my head in the right place or whatever, and by 2 hours, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so fried. I am so fried." And so for me, because I was a psychologist in a community mental health center, and my job was to listen and be present with my clients.
mhm,
And I was painfully aware that my clients who were seeing me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon were not getting the same emotional presence that my client who saw me at 8 o'clock that morning
mm,
got. And I thought, this is not how I want to be.
mm,
I want to be emotionally present. I want to be my best for the people who matter most to me. And that's where I really started thinking, well, what do I need to do? What does it look like to be my best? What do I need? What do I want?
mhm. And what were some of the first steps that you took to understand? Because you said it earlier, like your grandfather, I think you said grandfather, was chasing growth and
Mhm.
opportunity, which is great because that's
Yes.
what you love as well. But it almost seems like your metric for growth and opportunity is different, right? So, what did you do to really start to understand what is growth and opportunity for Dr. Sabrina?
So let me be real clear.
Please.
I like to make money, and I wanted a successful business,
Hmm.
and Tap the Potential has grown exponentially over the years by leaps and bounds. All of us work 25 hours a week. I currently work 10 hours a week now at Tap the Potential. And so this wasn't to sacrifice revenue or opportunity. It was to be very selective. And so the first steps I took,
Hmm.
I quit my job when I had a newborn daughter.
Wow.
And yes, that was crazy. I don't recommend that. Um, and I was committed. Like, I'm going to do this in 25 hours a week. And I would only put her in with a babysitter for 25 hours a week. And so one morning I dropped her off and I came back and I needed to dive into work because I only had about 5 hours that day to get anything done. And she had been sick the night before. And so as soon as I walked back into the house after dropping her off and I was intent to go to my office and just dive into work, I had to do the laundry because she'd been sick and it was, I mean, you could smell it. Like these are the joys of working from home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, and so I'm in the laundry room and I'm doing this laundry and I just have this massive meltdown because I'm like, I need to be busy because that
Mm-hmm.
hustle culture is still in my head, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
need to be busy. I've got all this that needs my attention. And here I am doing laundry. I'm never going to succeed like this and all that negative self-talk. And then I cried hard. And after that good cry, I had this like moment of clarity and this powerful question came to me and it was, Sabrina, if you can only get one thing done today that's going to move this business forward, what is that one thing? And I immediately knew my answer. And I went and I did that.
Hmm.
And when I got done that day, I had a long to-do list of things that didn't get done that was going to roll over to the next day. And I thought, you know what? I need to just take a little break and I'm not going to think about work the rest of the day. And when I come back tomorrow, I'm going to ask myself that same question. What's the one thing I can do today that will move this business forward? So that's how I started really coming to think about my time as being worth $10,000 an hour. It was those high value activities that I knew weren't just about surviving week to week, they were about making the business grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gary Keller wrote the book, The One Thing, and he has a different version of that question. And what is his version is, what is the one thing I can do so that everything else is easier or unnecessary?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that and I thought, oh my gosh, that's it. That is the definition of a $10,000 an hour activity. It's when we are working from our strengths and we are adding value by making everything else easier for ourselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
So this means that everybody on our team has the opportunity to do $10,000 an hour activity. And so I created a chart for myself of $10,000 an hour activity. And I needed to distinguish between $10, $100, $1,000, and $10,000 an hour activity. And I created this chart and I printed it out. I laminated it. I put it behind my computer so my eye would fall on it because inevitably I would get sucked into $10 an hour activity as I was growing my business because I was wearing all the hats. I was doing the marketing. I was still learning coaching. I was learning bookkeeping. I was learning how to do payroll, all of that. And I would realize, you know what? None of that is the $10,000 an hour activity that really grows this business and moves it forward. And so I would put that chart on my wall and I would look up and I would ask myself, Sabrina, were you doing $10,000 an hour activity? And no, I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so it became a game for me. Like, how fast can I delegate anything that's not $10,000 an hour activity and get it off my plate so that I can really focus on working from my strengths, which is teaching, sharing, thought leadership, thinking through solutions to complex problems for small business owners. Those are my gifts. And with this chart, and by the way, I'm happy to share this chart. You can download it at tapthepotential.com/10K. You can
Could
get
we
your
put that
own.
in the description below if you don't mind?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're welcome, everybody.
Tapthepotential.com/10K.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is where I really became aware we can grow businesses and we don't have to work 70, 80 hours a week as entrepreneurs because I was coaching small business owners. I saw them have the same struggles I was having.
Mhm.
And so I started sharing this chart of $10,000 an hour activity with them. And I saw the impact it was making as they started to adopt that mindset. But what's really eye-opening is we don't need to spend 40 hours a week doing $10,000 an hour activity.
Mhm.
We can move the needle forward significantly in our lives and in our businesses with about 8 hours a week of $10,000 an hour activity.
I mean, you talk about 25-hour work week, which, I was like, man, this is going to be a hook and people are going to say bullshit. Now you're saying 8. So we're going to get to that in a second here. But I do want takeaways for the audience. One of the things that I heard from you there is, one, you're taking time to write this stuff out. You have a chart. You know what
Yes.
your $1 an hour, your 10, your 100, your 1,000, your 10,000. So it's in front of you. You write it out and then you keep it in front of you. I think a
Yes.
lot of times people have these like aha moments and then we forget them. It's like you're
Right.
being very intentional with like putting that bad boy someplace that you can see. Now,
Yes.
the question that comes from it, just let's say someone does go to tap the potential /
10K.
10K. Someone they print it out, they have that graph. Would you then say an example of a $10,000 in activity for Dr. Sabrina is it just teaching, or are you very specific where this is an hour, it's filming YouTube content in order to teach? Like, what would an example
Right.
that you're writing down for $10,000 an hour activity for you be?
Oh my gosh. So it really depends on what our big goals are. So I
Hmm.
really like to step back and think about what's important to me to accomplish in the next year or two,
Hmm.
professionally and personally. So when it's personal, it's what experiences do I want to have?
Hmm.
When it's professional, it's what are my goals? So an example with Thought Leader is when I signed up a couple of years ago, I wanted a TEDx talk.
Hmm.
That has been a goal of mine for since at least 1999, maybe even longer. Not 1999, 2019. Oh my gosh.
Huge.
2019. I don't know where 1999 came from. Um, and I was spinning my wheels. I couldn't make it happen. And then I heard you guys talk and I thought, oh my gosh, they have the formula for how to make this happen. And I'm going to sign up. So I signed up. And so anything that I was doing that was assigned by Thought Leader
Hmm.
towards the goal of landing that TEDx talk was my $10,000 an hour activity. And so when I signed up with Thought Leader, I asked, what is the average number of applications it takes these days to land a TEDx talk? And at that point, it was 85. And so I thought, okay, I just need to get to my 85 applications. So every Monday, I spent a couple of hours sending off applications, and months went by and nothing. And I was starting to lose hope, and I was like, or, maybe I need to expand or change my topic, something. But I wasn't quite at 85. Well, it was my 80th application that landed the TEDx talk. And I actually did send out 85 applications. And I love to tell people that for months after I landed that TEDx talk, I was still getting no's in my inbox. I didn't care. I had the one talk. It only takes one, right?
Hmm.
And so then my $10,000 an hour activity shifted to let's nail this talk. It's got to be a certain length, it's got to be fluid, you got to memorize it. So all that. So showing up and getting coached on, 2 or 3 minute sound bites of that TEDx talk, that was $10,000 an hour activity because that was in relation to my goal.
I thank goodness you didn't change topic. I mean, I watched your talk all the way through. It's like I think 180,000 views right now,
Yes.
with a
Yes.
bunch of engagement. So thankfully you kept it. Now I like that way of looking at it. It's like, where am I at in my life? It's going to determine that $10,000 an hour activity. How often do you recommend someone stop and kind of reassess what's my $10,000 activity right now? Weekly?
So, well, no.
Okay.
What I have a process every year around the beginning of the year. I like to use that wheel of life.
Sure.
And for those of you who may not be familiar with the wheel of life, you rate your overall fulfillment in different areas of life on a scale of 0 to 10. And 10 is very fulfilled, 0 is not fulfilled. So I will look at that and I'll do an honest reflection on, where am I and whatever needs to be adjusted, because I'm not at a 10, that's where I really start to focus. But I also know as a psychologist, we can't focus on multiple things at the same time and be successful.
Hmm.
So I pick one personal goal and one business goal. And so for like long range visioning, every 5 years or so in a business, I think is important. If you're rapidly growing, probably every 2 to 3 years, like that's what we're doing at Tap the Potential, is every 2 to 3 years right now.
Mhm.
And we use that vision to identify what are our personal goals on our leadership team. And each one of us takes a goal that we own that moves towards the vision for the company. But on the personal side, it's really looking at that wheel of life and picking one or two things to focus on for the year, and then breaking it down quarter by quarter and saying, okay, what's my goal this quarter? Where am I focused?
And then are you okay? So I just think of, personal life. You might think of health. You might think of relationships. You might think of finances. You
Yes.
look at all that and you're like, okay, I'm choosing health. Do you
Yes.
then just have to be okay with, hey, finances, like networking and relationships that can wait for right now?
So, it's one of the things that I've been asked before, is it possible to live your life at a 10? Like have every area of your life at a 10? And I think so. I've been doing this 20 years. Okay. So this is a gradual process. So just because I'm focused on, and I am focused right now on health,
Hmm.
that does not mean I'm letting finances slide. I have other times in my life when I focused on finances, I've put systems and habits in place. So when we have habits and systems, we can go on autopilot
Hmm.
and then we have more energy to focus in the areas where we have to develop new habits or put new systems in place.
I love it. Now, can you, with all this, can you tell us a little bit more? I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't ask more about Tap Your Potential. Like, what is it and its core, and who is it that tends to come to you?
So at Tap the Potential, we are all about work supports life, not the other way around.
Hmm.
We serve business owners with established, growing businesses whose businesses have taken over their lives, and we help them get their lives back. A lot of our clients are excited about the 25-hour work week. Our promise is you will have more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. So we're hitting life and we're hitting success and growth,
Love
right?
it.
And 94% of our clients are achieving our promised result. And we have innovated now. I've written How to Hire the Best. I have a whole series
Hmm.
on how to hire A players. It's called How to Hire the Best. It's available on Amazon. I've also written the book, The 4 Week Vacation. So, our goal when clients come into our program is that they are able to take that fully unplugged 4 week vacation at the end of year one with us.
I love the tangibility of all of this. More
Yeah.
time, like that is tangible, it's
Yes.
objective. You're
Yes.
going to have more money, tangible, objective. You have a number of 94% knowing the success rate, and you're going to have a 4 hour or a 4 week vacation the
Mhm.
first year of working with Tap Your Potential.
Yes.
I think a lot of times when people try to get their message, their mastery out there and turn it into a program or a coaching course or consulting courses, we don't like people want tangibility. Like, what am I
Mhm.
getting at the end of this? Otherwise, if just like you're saying you're gonna feel better, people are like, I don't know what that means, lady. You're actually telling them this is what they're gonna get.
You're gonna have more time for your
Mhm.
family, and so being just the fact of being able to take a 4 week vacation a year from now, it means when you start our program, you're going to learn how to take evenings off, like
Yeah.
fully unplug. You're going to have a stop time at the end of your day where you fully unplug, and then you're going to take your weekends off and fully unplug. And for so many entrepreneurs, and I've been studying, we have data now on over 700 entrepreneurs. The average length in business of those we've surveyed is 12 years. And the most frequently reported number of days they've been able to be away from their business fully unplugged is 0. So it is huge to be able to say, you're going to unplug this weekend. You're going to take 2 days off and not think about work.
Hmm.
That
And
is a
also not
tangible result.
recharge. Like you said, it's like where you're on the couch, you're a couch potato for 2 straight days because you need to
Yes.
recharge your battery to go back to work.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the best thing that happens is because you have your evenings unplugged and your weekends unplugged, you can start to pay attention to your health again. You start to pay attention to your family and your important relationships. My favorite result is when I have wives and kids come up to me and say, thank you, because my dad takes me to work. My dad took me on a bike ride this weekend. That kind of feedback, that result means way more to me than how much more profit did we help you get.
That feels good just hearing that, right? I think we need more of it. Where, first off, where do people find you? Like, where would, let's say someone's listening to this right now, they're like, I am there. I am working late. I
Yes.
haven't taken a day off. Do you have like a specific social that people go to, or
So
a website?
if you're listening, this is probably you're a podcast listener. We have the Profit by Design podcast, and we dive into this. We've 6 years running. We release an episode every week. Actually, not 6 years. We just passed 7 years 2 days ago. 7 years running. Um, so that go to Profit by Design and listen to the podcast episode, and then tapthepotential.com. And of course, we're all over social, but I find that people really want to dig in deep,
Mhm.
and the Profit by Design podcast is the best place to really dig in deep with us.
I love it. And what do you tend to talk about? Who do you talk with on that podcast?
So, my lead strategist interviews me. We interview clients. We interview other business owners, and we really are about being real and being vulnerable. Like, this is real life business.
Mm,
And how do you go from, I don't know how to hire A players, I'm doing everything in my business, I've lost my faith in humanity because I've been burned so many times by employees. How do you go from that
mhm,
to a 25-hour work week and 4-week vacations where your team runs the business? Right now, we're on a journey of succession planning at Tap the Potential. We want to make sure this business can run indefinitely without me,
mm,
period, because of what I've experienced in my life. And if you want to know all that, listen to the TEDx talk. I know how beautiful life is and how fragile life is. And we are absolutely remiss when we run our businesses and act like we're going to wake up tomorrow, because we don't know, and we have no idea the impact it has on everybody we love and care about if we don't wake up tomorrow. So we have to set our businesses up so they can run without us. So this 4-week vacation, I mean, it sounds wonderful to sit on a beach and sip a margarita for 4 weeks. That's really not what this is about. This is about, does your business have sustainability?
mm. So you can spend time on the things that truly matter, right? True wealth, true freedom. Man,
Mhm.
I feel like I could tie a bow on this right there. That was such a good ending line. That being said, I don't want to. I have a couple of rapid fire questions, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And then we go into the uncomfort zone,
Okay.
which everybody gets. So, what would you say is a client's typical, your typical clients coming to you? What's their first biggest roadblock? And what would be your recommendation to get them through it?
Time. Like,
Hmm.
we hear all the time, I want to do Tap the Potential. I don't think I have time for this. So, how long is this going to take? And we can say, if you give us 5 hours a week,
Hmm.
we can get you to a 4-week vacation at the end of 12 months.
Hmm.
And we use the $10,000 an hour activity
Hmm.
to help you prioritize your time.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's funny because it's like, well, I don't know if I can give time to this because I'm busy, and you're like, hey, well, if you give us time, we're gonna free up so much more over here.
Ex-
I
Exactly.
feel like we keep coming back to it's like just being more intentional with our time, taking time to ask ourselves, what is it that I need? Where is it that I want to grow a little bit more? Want more freedom in my life? Taking time to write down what are my $10,000 an hour activities to get there. Taking time so we get time. It
Yes.
seems like such a paradox, but it's so needed.
Yep.
Um, so in that vein, how important would you say planning is if someone is going to have a 25-hour work week, which for a lot of people, I don't want to say they're rolling their eyes when they hear this, but
Mhm.
there's people out there that are rolling their eyes. How
It's
important?
hard to imagine.
Yes, it is. How important
So
is planning to get there?
I'm going to tell you that right now, if you are working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you're probably in the survival trap. And that means your brain can't plan
Hmm.
because you're like just trying to survive. And so, what we've done at Tap the Potential is you just show up and we will tell you, go do this. This is your $10,000 an hour activity
Hmm.
this week. So, you don't have to think, you just go do, and you start to experience the benefit of that. And it's when you get to the point when you've been working 60 hours a week and now you're finally working 40,
Hmm.
you feel some breathing room and you can start doing your own planning.
Mm.
But you can't do that planning
When you're
when
in
you're
it,
in survival
yes.
mode.
So would you then say, obviously, people that work with Tap the Potential can get out of that survival loop? Let's say anyone that's listening right now that's in it. What would you recommend for them as the first step to take to get out of that survival loop?
I would say download this chart of $10,000 an hour activities at
Mhm.
tapthepotential.com/10K. And then book a call with a member of our team.
Mhm.
It's available at tapthepotential.com. You can go right there and just book a call. And we're going to talk with you. We're going to hear your situation and guide you through, like, this is your next step. And I think that is the most amazing feeling for an entrepreneur when we feel like we've had the weight of the world on our shoulders,
Mhm.
for someone to come along and take us by the hand and say, we got this. We're
Mhm.
just going to tell you, just give us 5 hours and go do these things. And it's going to make things better.
I love it. Going through this, I mean, obviously your TEDx is a huge part of your success. So many people know about you from there, and then they're able to look
Mhm.
at Tap Your Potential. What would you say as is the biggest thing you took away from going through the leader program to get your TEDx talk out there?
My biggest takeaway is how impactful our stories are to help other people. I The comments on underneath my TEDx talk are just a sliver of the impact that I've learned about since giving that talk. An example is a wife who bought her husband a really fancy sports car because she realized that was something he wanted. They had the resources for it, but it didn't make sense to do it because they're a young family.
Mhm.
And she heard my TEDx talk and she said, I don't know why on earth we would think that we're going to do this 20 years from now. We need to do this now.
Mm.
That, to me, is the biggest takeaway, is how important it is for us to share our stories and the lessons we've learned through the school of hard knocks in life.
This is a great segue to the uncomfort zone. Cue no music. Um, why did you? I think a lot of times people have a mastery and a message to get out there, and it's like they want to, but
Mhm.
society, life gets in the way, and it's scary, right? You're walking a untreaded path in a sense. Why did you decide to get outside of your comfort zone to get this message out there?
Because my work supports my life.
Mhm.
That talk lives out there now, and people are being impacted by it every single day. When I landed that talk, I had like 4 or 5 months to get ready, maybe less than that, to deliver it, and then some really awful things happened to me in my life, and it was so tempting to just say, "I can't do this. I just can't. I'm overwhelmed. I've got too much. I'm not in a good place." And it was critical to me to get this message of work supports life out there. And I knew that's my purpose, was to get that message out there, and I had to do it.
And because it is something that you've talked about, what is the work supports life pledge?
So that is saying I'm going to stop work at a set time each day.
Mhm.
I am going to fully unplug in the evenings and weekends. And in that unplugged time, I am going to create experiences with those who matter most to me.
Love
That's
it.
it.
I love it.
And so if you want to take that pledge, tapthepotential.com/pledge.
Because you have a goal to have 10,000 people take that pledge.
Yes. Yeah. And
Congratulations.
the reason that's my goal is because I want more people out there living life anti-hustle culture, being examples to other people that you don't have to sacrifice your health and your well-being to have success.
Ego hat off, right? Because I just want your honest opinion here. Why do you think most people don't get outside their comfort zone to do the things that they care about?
Fear.
Mm.
Fear. We Love and abundance is the counter to fear.
Hmm.
And so whenever I find myself tempted to play small, and it happens every day, I have to acknowledge that's fear.
Hmm.
And if I'm going to operate from love and abundance, what choice do I make? And I stumble, I act out of fear and stress, and I'm human. And then my only way to get myself out is to say, well, what choice are you going to make here out of love?
Hmm. Damn, that answers the last question too, which is what would you recommend someone does to get outside? And it's just asking themselves that question. It's like, hey, if these are the two sides of where I'm at right now, what's the choice that I make in fear? What's the choice that I make in love? And when you can say that out loud, get it out. It's like it makes it a lot easier to be like, I'm going to choose the latter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Sabrina, this was an awesome podcast. I really really
Thank you, Philip.
appreciate you coming on, you talking about this, you sharing your brilliance. I'm gonna do a couple of quick takeaways that I took. I took a bunch of notes. If anyone saw me looking down, I promise I wasn't ignoring Dr. Sabrina. Um, I really like the fact for anybody out there who wants to be a leading voice is starting to question if something is working for you or not. And if it's not, what needs to shift for it? And I think also it's like understanding what growth and opportunity is for you that's watching this right now, because it's different from what it is for me. It's different from what it is from Dr. Sabrina. It's different from what it was for your grandpa as you get into it. I think I really also like, because this goes against what a lot of people think, is saying no more than you say yes, because that allows you to seek out your growth and your opportunity, which for you, wealth equals freedom. I think it's good for people to know that if you're in this survival loop, one of the things that I wrote down is your body's going to tell you, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to come home, you're going to crash, and no hustle doesn't equal less money. Like no hustle can actually equal more money. That's everything that you do at Tap Your Potential. It's just taking things one thing at a time, working from your strengths, taking time to write this stuff down, taking time to know your $10,000 an hour activities, which you can go to the link in the description below to find, and getting to a place where you want to choose love and abundance over fear. That's everything that I took. I'm sure other people took more things. And if you did, go down, throw it in the comments. It's the biggest thing that you took from Dr. Sabrina, because you know she's actually going to go through these comments the same way she goes through her TEDx comments, which multiple hundred of them. So that's everything that I took away. Dr. Sabrina, thank you so much. Any closing remarks for you and what you all do?
I would just encourage you listening today, make your decisions out of love for yourself and those who matter most to you.
I love it. And a decision that I would love for anyone listening to make out of love is going down below, clicking like, clicking subscribe, and tuning into the next episode of A Matter of Speaking podcast. We appreciate you all, and we will see you soon. Take care.